That's a quick mic check. There we go. All right. All right. Link has been shared. So good morning, afternoon, evening to everyone wherever you may be in the world. This is ALR Aero League Racing Tier 6 Season 6. Let me get my bearing right. Tier 6 Season 16 sprint race round. Deep Forest Raceway. Yes, I can successfully get through that. All right. So we will be starting off with the sprint race, and we will go through the order in a moment. We see Michelle Beaumont in the BRZ has put it on pole position. Good afternoon, Tommy Morinson. It's nice to have you in the chat here with us. Michelle is on the softs. I think the whole field is going to be in the softs. There's no doubt about that. Michelle on the BRZ in the softs. Udalai, let me get that right. It's been a few attempts. I've made a few attempts to say that name, but nonetheless, Udalai in the Supra is in P2, Jal's daughter in the not the BRZ, it's the RCZ, is in P3. Blade Runner in the Renault is in P4, Ellis in P5, IJF in the ambulance Lambo is in P6, Gabo, a bit of a unfortunate quali I believe for him, he's in P7. Gum in the Porsche is in P8, as I've mentioned quite a few times. That is a very neat livery that he's chosen for the car. Apocalypse is in P9 in the Audi. Boyan P10 in the Merc. If he retains this position, he will be on pole position for the feature race. Denos in P11 in the Police Lambo. Rico in P12. Hello, Charles. Nice to have you in the chat. And I believe it's you who just mentioned that you have. You're at work, so I shall do my best to entertain you whenever you do tune in. Inorganic is P14, Fudo's 13th in the Audi, Inorganic's 14th in the Aston, and we round up the grid with Gaz at the back of the grid in the Audi as well. So, with that, we have the grid sorted. Let's go for lights out. 1 light, 2 light, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights ahead of all 15 drivers. And it's lights out and they're off. It's a pretty poor start for Udalai, who's been absolutely hounded. Has just gone backwards immediately for him. But up front is Michelle, who's got a great start. However, the top end speed in the BRZ is known to be lacking severely, and that is going to be very problematic for him. I see a couple cars on the grass as well. Nonetheless, I think everybody's gotten through without too many issues apart from Udalai. Obviously, we saw having a few issues being bogged down at the start. That is Jaws into P2, and somebody's gone off the circuit there. I think that may still be Udalai, who's trying to recover from the poor launch that they've got. Jaws is in P2 under threat from Gabo, who's got a fantastic start already up into P3, making amends for that unfortunate race start. And I hope I'm muted there, sorry for that. Yeah, Blade Runner in P4 chasing after Jals, and look at that, Jals has gone very wide there. That is going to open up the door for Gabo, but Gabo is a hang back for now. Further back I see there's a bit of a gap between Blade Runner and P5, so that is the two Supras line astern. But Michelle has broken away, at least by the looks of it. At the moment, 2 cars onto the grass there, kissing the curbs, and 2 Renaults coming very close. You do not want to make contact with your teammate under any circumstances, let alone when I think this was the case where they were still fighting for the driver standings order. So I think they were fighting for P2 at this point in time as Udalai runs into the back of Gabo, and that is Udalai has come up worse. From that Gumb in P6, he's gotten ahead of Ellis. Apocalypse with a reasonable start as well. Denos in P9, I believe. Then the ambulance Lambo has fallen back a lot further back. What's going on here is the battle for P5. That's Gum getting ahead of Udalai, and Ellis looks to be following suit on his teammate as well, and that is Apocalypse getting very interested in the same. Let's have a look. Somebody's gone completely off the circuit. That is Blade Runner. We will have a look at that in a moment. Let's have a look at this. Okay, wow, actually, let's get back to that. So what happened with Blade Runner? I think, did Gabo and Blade Runner have a moment? Charles was saying it was his best race ever. I will be very glad to see how it goes. Because it seems like it was going pretty well for you at the moment. As you see Blade Runner, the car closest to you, going off there, Charles. So Blade Runner regaining his composure, coming back on track, and there you go. This is going to be a 5-car battle approaching the end of this long straight, and it is going to be Gumb who is going to be giving a slipstream, effectively, punching a hole in the air for all the 4 cars behind him. Yeah, that's Blade Runner coming under threat from Apocalypse, and actually everybody's going to hold position, which is rather surprising. Actually, no, that's Blade Runner who's lost a position to Apocalypse and falling down to P8. So, in the span of maybe a kilometer or so, I think you can say he's gone from P3 to P8. That is not the way you want your race to go, but this is a fantastic battle. You love to see this. Oh, I hear contact in the background. Did somebody kiss the wall? Getting a bit romantic there with the wall. Apocalypse picks up a 1-second penalty. That's probably for a small corner cut there. Will Ellis go for a move here into the last corner? Comes close to making a move but doesn't go for it. And as we end lap 2, Ellis and Gumb both kick up some grass, bit of dirt, and nonetheless we see Charles is still in P2 when Michelle has broken free. We will get back to the midfield here. Apocalypse with a penalty. Blade Runner looking to make amends for his poor moment at the previous lap. At this very turn, it's a very easy turn to make a mistake, this one, as I can hear a lot of tires squealing there, and there's a car going off the circuit. That is not the track, Rico. So let's see what happened there. Was there contact? Was there a bit of clipping of grass? Let's see what's happened here to the Genesis driver. So approaching the left-hander. It's a rather bizarre incident. Oh, that's a full 360. Well done, Rico, for holding it together. Although that is going to be costing him some tire grip and confidence as well. He is still in the race, and that's the Lamborghini being slowed down. Apocalypse slowing down as well. Up front, let's have a look what's going on between Udelai and Gabo. Udelai getting closer to the position that he started in, so he's gone backwards since the get-go. I think he will be wanting to definitely make amends. Although Gabo is known to be a pretty tough customer, he will not let anybody pass without at least putting up a rather reasonable fight. Charles has gone a little bit wide there, I think, at that time. That's going to allow Gabo to get close, although Gabo's a little squirmish on his own. And that is Udelai trying to find space where really I think there was none. And that is a massive moment there for the Supra driver, who's picked up damage and lost a whole host of positions, as that is going to be pretty scary for all those around him. Although Udelai respectfully rejoins without causing too much grief to those around him. So it's gone backwards for him. That's a bit of a commentator's curse there. We'll have a look at Ellis, who's trying to mount an attack on the Porsche of Gumb. The American in P4 being chased after by the Brit in P5. Let's have a look into the hairpin. We will go. Ellis trying an alternative line through there, trying to force Gumb into making a bit of a mistake. They're possibly going a little bit deep, but I don't think Gumb is going to succumb to that. He's going to hold position for the time being as well. And yep, they stay as they were. I don't think any moves are being made. I think actually, as I say that, Rico looks to be lining up a move on Danos. So Danos in the police Lamborghini. Is it the son of the police? Is it the son of the Genesis that's going to get ahead? Let's have a look. I think it's going to be the Genesis, depending on who can be the last late breakers. I think it's going to be Rico, although he needs to be wary of not going too deep into that corner, which he has done very well. So Rico, well done on being good on the brakes. Now it is a section where, oh, that's the Genesis going off track, cutting the corner there. That may be a penalty for him, as the two Lamborghinis get very close to one another. Rico himself going very wide there. Anything happening up front? Oh! Kuda going a little bit off track, losing the rear end a slight bit, but keeps it under control. Up front, anything interesting happening? Michelle has run away, effectively. Charles is slowly but steadily, he's there. I don't think Michelle is completely in the clear at the moment. He will still have a lot of things to look out for, drivers to look out for. I hope my audio mix is better. I've had a few issues in the past with that. I think we will go on board with inorganic. Tommy Morrison, your debut race in ALR will always be a very rather special one. I remember mine. It was at the start of this very season with these exact set of drivers. So pretty interesting bunch of people, as there's massive contact between the two Lamborghinis. They've caused themselves a whole lot of grief, and that has not just opened the door, that has created a hole in the earth almost for inorganic. It was the easiest way possible for him to get past, and that contact with any driver is problematic, but it's worse when it's with your teammate. And the two Lamborghini drivers have found that out the hard way. IGF going for a rather audacious move there. That's not going to do them any good, the two of them, as that's going to open up the door for Eudeli to get back into the mix here after a rather unfortunate spin there. Eudeli looking to regain some momentum. I see in the background there, Boyan has also fallen back. He was P10 if I'm not wrong, so he's fallen back to P14. He's in the, well, I want to say thick of it, but I don't want to be reminded of a rather unfortunate song that released a few months ago. But he is in the thick of it. He will be rather eager to get into the points possibly. Let's see. There's still a few laps to go. Eudeli looking to get a good exit here. As we see, I see two cars very close to one another. That is Ellis and Gum. So they have been following closely to one another for a few laps now. Will Ellis attempt an alternative line, possibly a switchback on Gum on lap 6? He attempts it, but I don't think he'll be able to make it stick, because I think Gum should have the advantage. Or will he? Going through this long straight, I think Ellis may just have the advantage with the help of the slipstream that he will be able to get past. Michelle has the fastest lap, although Ellis is just gone 4 tenths quicker, and that is an immense moment there. Whatever happened between Gum and Ellis? Did Gum just miss his braking point, or did he just not expect Ellis to break that a little bit earlier? Let's have a look from Gum's onboard what's happening, and yep, that is clear as day. Gabo must have had a code brown there for a moment, given how close Ellis got to the rear end of the Renault there. As wow, it was pretty damn scary, I must say, for Gabo. But yeah, I think Gum having a bit of a moment there. Ellis will be pretty cross with Gum for that. Nonetheless, I think the stewards would have made their own decision about that. Ellis falls back. He's now in an Audi sandwich between Fudo and Apocalypse. Blade Runner in P5, looking to get past Gum. Gum obviously looking to regain some composure and momentum. Not enjoying his time after that unfortunate off there with Ellis. For the back, let's have a look. That is Rico onto the grass there. Inorganic getting past Denos. And what's happened to the ambulance Lambo? Yep, he's picked up a penalty as IGF. So pretty unfortunate for him there. Let's have a look. Oh, that's Gum going deep into that corner, possibly making a bit of a mistake. And that is Blade Runner sailing through. No issue whatsoever. Thank you very much, says the Renault driver, and gets past the Porsche driver. What about the two Frenchmen who are up in front? They're leading quite comfortably, I must say. They look to be in control of this race, and both are in French cars as well, so that is a matter of national pride almost, I must say. Both of them want to get the best possible result for themselves. Charles has a moment there, clips the barrier and picks up a penalty. He's lucky to have not picked up damage there, and this turn seems to be a bit of a hindrance for a lot of drivers here. A lot of drivers making a lot of mistakes at this specific turn. Let's have a look. Gum has lost a bit of momentum. Ellis is looking to regain positions here. Fudo looking to gain a position on Ellis, but he seems to be struggling a little bit here. Wow, as you can see, he's still struggling to maintain grip on this circuit. We saw Eudeli spin at that very turn. I can imagine, Charles, that is a pretty scary moment to be involved in. But I'm glad that you've gotten through without too many issues there. As we start lap 8, so this race is actually going along quite a bit faster than I expected it to. Not a whole lot happening up front, unless Gabo and Blade Runner trade positions towards the end of the race. The two Renaults are known to work well in tandem, so let's see what they can do. Whether they swap positions, what they choose to do, whether Blade Runner thinks he has a better chance at attacking Charles as opposed to Gabo. I think Ellis may be looking to size up a move on the Audi of Apocalypse at the next turn. Let's have a look. He is a 10th, almost 2 tenths up on his personal best. That is also a purple sector for him, but let's have a look. Into the turn we go. Apocalypse not having the best grip through there, but still holding on to his track position. And through this section we go, and as Apocalypse taking a lot more grass than he needs to, kicking up a lot more dirt. Ellis will be rather eager to get past the Audi driver, but I don't think there's a way past for him at the moment, at least, unless moments like that continue to happen for Apocalypse, which is going to clearly open the door for Ellis to get past. Wow. And Apocalypse still struggling. I'm not sure what's happening here. Is he putting the power down a little too early, because his tires look to be in good nick? I don't see why he's having an issue with traction there. Maybe he's just putting the power down a little too early, but we see the two Renaults very close to one another. The Renault of Gabo will be looking to defend against his teammate, although Blade Runner is known to be a pretty feisty driver. Into the hairpin we go. Gabo is ahead for the time being, at least, and I think it is an all-French 1P1 to P4, and two of the drivers are French as well, so I think it's a very ideal situation for the nation of France to see 4 of their cars and 2 of their drivers in the top 4, but that is not going to be bringing any smiles to anyone's faces, least of all being Gabo. He just missed his breaking point there, the Brazilian, as struggling to regain composure, and I'm struggling to find my words, it seems. Blade Runner would have wanted an opportunity there to get past his teammate, but I don't think that's going to materialize on this occasion. A little further back, I see a lot of drivers very close to one another. However, I don't think anybody's close enough to attempt to move at this point, or are they? Rico and Fudo very close. Rico looking to make a move on the Audi of Fudo. Will he be successful in it? We have another 2 laps to go. Once we cross the line, we will find out in a few moments' time. That is not the button I wanted to press, forgive me. Let's switch our attention to this, the battle of the Renaults. The battle for P3 as well, podium position mind you, and sparking away the 2 Renaults go through this section, approaching the hairpin. Let's have a look what Blade Runner can do in regards to attacking his teammate. Gabo going for the slightly wider line will get the better exit there compared to Blade Runner, so I think they're going to hold position for the time being. They will be, did something happen here between these two, Ellis and Apocalypse? Let's have a look from, who's that? That is a spinner, that's Gumb. I think they've just gotten a little bit distracted there, more so Ellis than Apocalypse. But what's happened to Gumb? Spinning all on his own. I think he just clipped the grass there. Yep, that's an unfortunate moment there. Lucky that he's not picked up any damage from that. And he'll actually get a pretty good exit out of this. So he may be able to attack these two, you know. Let's have a look. Onto this long straight we go. It is going to be Supra v Audi v Porsche. Let's have a look who is going to come out on top in this battle. Gumb will be eager to regain the position that he's just lost here, but I think not more so than Apocalypse. And once again, Ellis getting tagged into this specific section of track. However, lucky for him, he will not be going into the wall this time. Good afternoon, Blade Runner. What's happened to you? As soon as you've joined the stream, battling with your teammate, have you had a moment here, Blade Runner? Oh, that is super unfortunate there. The 2 Renaults coming to blows here, and Blade Runner coming off worse. You never want to make contact with your teammate there, so Blade Runner, maybe you want to let us know what happened there through your own perspective. Let us know what happened there in the chat. Super unfortunate. Battling for P3, down to P7 goes the Renault. Wow, this is getting really feisty. Elbows out for Apocalypse and Ellis as we start the last lap of what has been a pretty amazing sprint here, and I think that's fair enough. There's bound to be contact in racing, so it's pretty unfortunate that it was with your teammate. So I don't believe there was any reports being made for that towards inquiries. Given that you're both teammates, but nonetheless, we see the last lap of this race into the Hairpin we go for one last time. Ellis taking the alternative line and getting a reasonable exit here. Gumb losing some traction on exit. Blade Runner a little too far back to make a move on this occasion. What about Fudo and Rico here? He's been steadily going up the ranks here. I think he'll be eager to pounce on any opportunity provided to him. I think that is case in point there. He saw an opportunity provided by the Rich Energy Audi and he's gone for it. Well done, Rico, making a very good move. Yes, I think we've all been victims of that Blade Runner, of the getting a bit too eager there, a little bit too early. I think we're all guilty of that in some or the other form of racing. So nonetheless, I believe we should have a good chance of fighting back in the feature race. Michel has cruised away from the race lead. He's been comfortably led away, and I think at the end of it all, it's been a pretty comfortable win for him in the grand scheme of things. He'll round off the final corner here. Comes up to the start-finish line. Will he do a little bit of weaving? What's he going to do? It is nonetheless a race win for Michel Beaumont in the BRZ. Charles Daughter, who's mentioned that it's his best sprint race of all time, he is going to finish in P2. Gabo will finish P3, and it's 4 cars in a row. It's going to be Ellis followed by Apocalypse, Gumb, and Blade Runner. Blade Runner's P7, and it's almost a photo finish between Rico and Fudo. Fudo's P9 and Udalai will be P10. However, this promotes him to pole position for the sprint. IJF in P11, Boyan in P12. A rather invisible race for Boyan, honestly. Inorganic in 13th, Danos in 14th. So he's also gone backwards. It's not gone rather well for Danos. And Gaz a long way back. Danos will finish in 14th, and Gaz will be the last car to finish this sprint race. He's going to be P15. That is where he's going to start for the main race as well. So I believe we should be having 16 drivers, but it was Nico in the Aston who had a race ban for this race, depending on the stewards and qualities. I'm not too sure about it. And Charles saying it was not lap 3, it's lap 1 So I did read your comment. I was going to get to that. So alright, that's the end of the sprint. We will move on to the feature. Well, I'm pretty keen to see what's happening. Obviously, it's unfortunate what's happened to you there, but okay, there you go. So thank you, Michelle, for uploading the... I am going to give you a like there. There you go. So we move on with the feature race. And I'm going to take a brief moment here to have a bit of water. I would advise everybody to do the same as well. Stay hydrated. Alright, so apologies for the little delay. I like to make my pit stop of water between the sprint and the feature. So let's have a look at the pecking order and their strategy choices for this race. So Udalai in the Supra has opted for the mediums, so has Fudo. Rico in the Genesis has opted for the hards, so that's an interesting choice. First driver to be on the hards. But right behind him, Blade Runner follows suit also on the hards. Gumb is on the mediums as well in the Porsche. Apocalypse on the hards in the Audi. Ellis on the mediums. So I would like to see what his teammate has done. Did I forget something? Yep. So it's the two Supras both on the medium tires. Gabo on the hards down in P8. Charles is on the mediums in P9, and he's going to have a moment as he's let us know in chat. So I will be looking out for that, giving him a little bit extra airtime there. Jaws in P9 on the mediums, and so is Michelle. P10 on the mediums as well. IGF follows suit, makes it 3 in a row for the medium runners, P9, 10 and 11. Boyan is on the softs. Interesting choice. Let's see if it pays off for him. In the race, Inorganic is 13th and on the mediums. Danos is 14th also on the mediums, and Gaz rounds up the grid also on the mediums. So it's a medium sandwich. Most of the drivers are on the mediums. I think it's just Blade Runner and Rico and Gabo on the hards. I think that is the case. Yep. So Boyan saying it was a mistake. Well, it's usually it does scare you as a driver a little bit to see you being the only driver on the alternative strategy. But let's see how it went for you. Race start from the eyes of Eudalai. Let's have a look. We're not going to have the 5 lights in the traditional sense. It's going to be a rolling start, as it always is. So we have the lights going off any moment now. 1 light, 2 lights, 3 lights, and they go racing. All 15 drivers are eager to get one. Wow, let me get my words right. All 15 drivers are eager for exactly one thing, and that is to be exactly where Eudalai is at this point. They all want to be in P1. I think Fudo and Rico are pretty close. They are a little too eager to get to P1 at this point in time. Rico into the hairpin we go. Rico getting close. I see there's a lot of chaos going on in the background there. We will have a look in a moment what's happened to the rest of the drivers. As I see, that is a Supra going rather wide there. That would be Ellis. We'll have a look at Charles as well in a moment. As we see, that's side-by-side action for the Porsche and the Renault Blade Runner and Gumb. Obviously, oh, that's massive moments there for so many drivers. That will deserve more than just a cinematic replay. That will deserve. Oh, I don't know exactly what that deserves. I will. So I believe that is what Charles mentioned here. So that is Charles. Oh, that's contact with Gabo, contact with Apocalypse. Wow, that is, I think, an all-in-one crash. I think we saw 50 shades of contact there, pretty much, for Charles, Gabo, and unfortunate being Apocalypse, who's come off in the worst possible situation there. Has damage and is at the tail end of the field here. Thank you, Charles, for giving us a heads up. I'm glad I got to capture that in all its glory there. And once again, the two Renaults are line astern, P7 and P8. Eudalai is in P1 still. Will Michel be able to cut through the field and run away into the lead once again? Let's have a look. So he's chasing after his fellow countryman at the moment. Sorry. As we start lap 2, Charles chasing after Rico, and Eudalai seems to be in control though. Yes, the Monza level crashing is nothing like it. I will be covering that in a few days as well. Michel looking to make a double move on Rico and on Charles, and I think he's going to make it stick at least on one of them. Charles not getting the best traction out of the hairpin, and that's going to allow the Subaru to get past. However, I think the superior straight line speed of the RCZ is going to be beneficial here. But I think there's a moment there incoming for Charles. Let's have a look. Oh, that is... Oh no! With the wall goes the Peugeot, and with it, Charles' hopes go into the wall as well. Unfortunate for you, Charles. I think you've said your leg who's not very compliant with your racing endeavors at this point in time. So was there a bit of a moment there? Did you? And you're saying hello to the barrier, I think he said. We carry on as we see a lot of nice comments in the chat there. Oh! Gabo getting a little too eager there on the throttle, and that's going to open up the door. Side-by-side action for the two Renaults here, as a little bit of contact there. Yeah, the leg sometimes is not very compliant with our endeavors and wishes to race, as Rico looking to get past. Michel's engine is in a similar predicament here, as that is rather unorthodox gear shift there by Michel. That has caused Rico a few troubles there. It's caused the Genesis driver to fall back a few positions. That's Blade Runner versus Michelle. These two, I don't want to say veterans, but they are, I think they are veterans of ALR in a way. And that is Blade Runner getting past the Subaru, who is not able to get through at the same rate of knots. As I heard a lot of tires squealing in the background, I was just going to say that I hope it's not somebody having a bit of a spin there. I think that's Rico spinning all on his own on lap 3 of this race and rejoining, rolling back. Oh, that is always scary. Always scary to have a car just rolling back in front of you. And that is Charles to the wall and just hits the wall again. Charles down in P15. This race has gone from bad to worse for him here. A lot of drivers in the mid-pack here are really close to one another, but there's a lot of action going on up and down the field, so it's really difficult to be mindful of every battle. And as I say, I was looking at the battle for the midfield. I've missed this battle between Gum and Fudo, the two German cars being driven by a Brit and an American. Let's have a look who's gonna come out on top. It seems to be Gum, but will Fudo have something up his sleeve? Let's have a look as we go into the hairpin here. Both of them choose a rather interesting line through here. I think it is Gum who has gone a little bit too wide there. He will get a better exit though. Blade Runner has managed to stay ahead of Michelle. Gabo is closing up, and I think that is rather valiant of you, Charles. I think it always makes sense to finish the race. Retiring just doesn't sit well with me. Even if it's outside the points, I still believe it's best to finish the race more often than not. You never know what could happen there. As you can see, you never know when you could be under threat from another driver. IJF has spotted an opportunity here with Gabo battling away with Michelle ahead of him. I believe IJF has gone for a pretty aggressive move and he's been able to make it stick, or did he just miss his braking point and just make the move stick as a result of it? Nonetheless, he is up into P6, Gabo's down to P7. Boyan on those soft tires has not made up too much ground, but he is still in a pretty good position in this race. Chasing after Gabo in P7. What about Ellis? Ellis will be looking to make amends, and Gabo has gone off track. He will want to make amends for that little moment there. Boyan will be eager to get by, and in that eagerness I think he's also picked up a penalty while trying to avoid running into the back of Gabo. Ellis looks for a way past and finds a way past the Mercedes driver. Gabo once again having a moment at the exit of the last corner, so I don't think he's particularly enjoying this part of the racetrack. Let's have a look up front. Fudo and Gum are separated by actually some significant amount. However, Gum has a half a second penalty incoming. Blade Runner is driving a bit of a lonely race at this point in time. Actually, as I say that, Michelle is right there, and we see Gabo and Ellis battling away. We will have a look at that one more time. So Gabo was overtaken by IJF a few seconds ago. I think Ellis will... So Gabo's been overtaken in the same way by two different drivers. Although I think both of them were a little too aggressive. I think Gabo will be pretty upset with the way those moves were carried out. I don't think he's rather upset with the moves they carry out themselves. Denos in the other Lamborghini will be looking to emulate his teammate, trying to get past Gabo. Let's have a look what he can do. Into the right-hander we go. Gabo is ahead, but he goes a little bit deep into that corner. However, I think he's just managed to keep it under control. Inorganic, and oh, what's happened to Boyan here? I think he got a little bit distracted there watching these two battle it out, or maybe just missed his braking point. Let's have a look here. So, oh, I think he missed his braking point. However, he's kept it out of the wall there. So well done, Boyan. I know you're not rather happy with the with yourself, seeing yourself go wide there on track, but I think well done on keeping it on track. Gabo is not particularly enjoying this. I think you can feel it from his driving. He's a little bit flustered. He's a little bit upset with how the feature has gone till this point. He's been passed by Ellis and IJF in aggressive manners, and that's Michelle ahead of Blade Runner. However, oh, that's... I will have a look at a whole lot of moments here between drivers, because I see Gumb has had a spin all on his own, I believe. Yep, Gumb goes into the wall there, but whatever has prompted Michelle to pick up a 2-second penalty here. Let's have a look. Nothing doing here. That may have amounted for one bit of the penalty. That's really, I want to say, unjustified. I mean, it was an advantage gained by a corner cut, but 2 seconds, that's really harsh on Michelle. I believe a 1 second penalty may have been enough, but I don't know, the game is, it's almost like it has a mind of its own. Gumb is rejoining and rejoins in a sensible manner, waits for most people to get by. Oh, as I say that. Wow. Boyan with the penalty, Michelle with the penalty as well, sparking away Denos and Gabo. Gabo has gained a position, although he will not be pretty keen with the situation he is in right now. He wants to get past, but that's a slight corner cut, and that's an unfortunate way to go over the turn there. I think he would have lost a little bit of momentum going through there. Michelle has been slowed down to serve his penalty. That's going to open up the door, and it's going to open up the door pretty well for Ellis, who gets past the Subaru driver. IGF in a good position, actually. IGF, we don't usually see him in this higher position. I hope I'm not done a commentator's curse there for him, for IGF. Ellis in P5. He's had a bit of an unfortunate way for his sprint. I think he will be wanting to make a lot of amends in the future, possibly rise up the ranks and get close to his teammate Udalai, who seems to be pretty comfortably leading at this point. So well done to him. Michelle looking to make amends for that penalty. He will be wanting to get past the Supra and the Lamborghini at the earliest possible moment of asking. Gabo in P7, a little further back. Inorganic in P8. Boyan in P9, and Apocalypse has a penalty to serve. He will have to do that in a few moments' time as we start lap 7. This is a 3-way battle for P4. IJF, Ellis and Michelle, and mind you, Blade Runner is not too far ahead either, so Blade Runner could also be involved in this. Blade Runner actually catching up to Fudo. So after Gumb's spin, it's really been, the door has been opened up pretty much for, well, let me get my words right. There's a window of opportunity, that's what I wanted to say, for all the drivers to at least be in P2, if not challenge Udalai for P1 towards the latter part of this race. It is lap 7 of 28. We are 25% through this race already, almost 25% through. Ellis is being hounded by Michelle. IJF has picked up a penalty. Let's just rewind a tad bit and have a look at how Michelle got past the Lamborghini. So aggressive downshifts for the Subaru driver and clean move by Michelle around the outside. It just seemed like IJF had nothing doing. He just had no defense against Michelle, and he's lost a position to the Subaru driver, who gets a little bit out of shape there, although I think he will still retain his position for the time being. Getting close to the barrier there, Michelle, but still keeping it under control. He is on the mediums, Michelle, and he has a lot more tire wear as compared to IJF at this point in the race. That is the end of lap 7, so 25% race distance has already been covered, so well done to drivers for surviving laps until lap 7 at least. Let's have a look further back. The field is pretty spaced out. Denos is kissing the barrier there, getting a little bit romantic with the barrier. That's going to open the door for Gaz. And unfortunately, that's Boyan into the pit lane. And that's, who is that? That is Denos off the track there. So Boyan's strategy to be on the softs has not really paid off that well for him, considering he's down in P12. And what tires has he opted for? Is it another set of softs? Is it? Yep, Boyan has come out on softs again. and he has got the pit exit there. Oh, that is the worst possible way to exit the pit lane, although full marks for style there, Boyan. Well done for the execution of that spin, although that is down in P15 for Boyan. Not going particularly well for him. Gabo chasing after Michel. Michel also driving a race of his own at this point, trying to get past the field. Yeah, I don't think you really want to be remembering all such kind of stuff, but no worries, Boyan. The race is long. I will be pretty eager to see how you get on with it, considering you are on fresh tires at this point, so chin up. I mean, you do know how your race has gone, so despite that chin up, you never know what could happen. Anything can happen. Well, this is not Formula 1, but anything can happen in racing, and it usually does. I've modified that iconic statement by the late great Murray Walker there. I think it is applicable to all forms of racing. It's the battle for P13, and it is fantastic to watch. Boyan is on fresh soft tires. The drivers ahead on slightly older mediums. Danos is playing farming simulator with the amount of times he's gone under the grass there in the past 2 laps. That is not the ideal way to go about it. And I'm just going to focus on this for a moment here, despite the fact that I can see a few drivers close together up front. That is Gaz having massive movement there. Boyan has got past the Audi and he's going to look for a way past the Lamborghini as well. And that is Gaz going for an aggressive move. I think Boyan just spotted it in time. So props to him for avoiding a potential contact there with the Audi driver. Look further up front, Blade Runner is chasing after Fudo. Ellis is in the mix there. Michel's a little further back. Gabo was close to Michel, but he's fallen a little further back himself. Inorganic is being chased after by IJF, and I think that is going to be IJF's race is going backwards. He's not had a pretty bad race, I would say, but he is falling backwards. So if it continues to go this way for him, he will be under threat from Apocalypse and Rico as well. So we start lap 10 on board with who is this, Fudo and Blade Runner. So Blade Runner has gotten past the Audi. Into the hairpin we go. Who's going to be last of the late breakers? Who's going to get the best exit out of this corner? This is a pretty tricky turn in this racetrack. I think it's Blade Runner who got away comfortably. However, Fudo will have the slipstream, and I believe he will have the superior engine as well, does he? I think the Audi will have a better engine as compared to the Renault. We're going to find out in a moment who's going to be the last of the late breakers. Will it be Blade Runner? Will it be Fudo? I think Blade Runner's broken a little bit too late. That is not going to help him out, given that he's going to lose a bit of composure, but he is still defensive against Fudo. That is aggressive. Elbows out racing by Blade Runner. Fudo is still there in the mix. However, I think it is going to be holding position for the time being, unless Ellis can do something about that. Ellis wants to get past the Audi, wants to get past the Renault as well, and that is Michel joining this little party here. On lap 10, it has come alive, the battle for P2. And I think Ellis will be pretty eager to get past the Audi. Michel will be pretty keen to get past actually everyone here, considering the ease with which he ran away from the field in the sprint race. Gabo's a little further back. He seems to be struggling, Gabo, and his tire wear is also pretty high, I must say. Given that he's on the hards, it's a little bit too high, I think. So have a look going into the hairpin on lap 11. What's going to happen between Ellis and Fudo? I hear Michel with his aggressive downshifts there, and he is still going to hold position for the time being behind the Supra, who is himself chasing after the Audi. So let's have a look at the rest of the field for a moment. Anything happening here? Genesis versus Audi, nothing happening. Yep, the field is pretty spaced out. There's a little battle here. Oh, that's a car in the wall. And was there contact between Danos and... oh no, that's Danos simply having a moment of his own. So yeah, pretty damn unfortunate there for Danos down in P15. He is still stationary on the track, as Fudo and Ellis getting feisty, elbows out. That's going to open up the door for Michel to potentially make a move. Going off track there, he will be crossing all his fingers and hoping that he's not going to pick up another penalty, and I don't think he has. Ellis still hounding, hassling Fudo. Blade Runner has been allowed to break away from this pack as a result, which is obviously a breath of fresh air for him and gives him some breathing room as well. So they all continue as they are. Michel trying for an alternative line through there, trying to get past the Supra and the Audi. Start lap 12. Ellis is getting closer every passing moment to the back of the Audi. Inorganic has pitted from the medium, so the first of the medium runners to make their quick stop. Ellis and Fudo, and that is good. Wow, this is some fantastic racing here. And who is going to come out on top? It may well be Michel, you know, who's got a pretty good exit there comparative to the both of them, but nope. I think the straight line deficit of the Subaru comes back to bite him every single time on a long straight like this one. Fudo is still there, however, trying to get past the Supra. Will he attempt to move into this corner? He will. Will he be able to make it stick though? That's the question. And I believe the question has been answered for Ellis rather convincingly. Ellis has lost the position. Fudo's up into P3. Michel has also gained the position on the Supra driver. And there you go. Ellis going backwards in this race. Down to P5. Gabo not enjoying his time, I think, on track. Yeah, BRZ. The BRZ is fantastic in the corners. I don't think there's any car that can beat the sheer comfort that the BRZ gives the driver in the corners here. But I think on the straights, that's where the deficit really comes into play. It's really not a good car to have in the straights. However, I think in Michel's hands, it's been pretty competitive here tonight. Lap 13, is it going to be a lucky or unlucky lap 13 for some? Let's have a look. Going into the chicane, Michel is actually in a pretty nice, involved in a nice battle. He's being hounded from the front and the rear. Into the hairpin we go, and there's contact there from both ends for Michel, front and rear, and that is going to allow Ellis to get past. Gabo in the background, you can see he is there or thereabouts. He's not entirely comfortable, I believe, with this tires. Potentially it's with the track as well. I'm not sure what is troubling Gabo at this point in time. Going to this right-hander, we see Fudo going super wide there, and Ellis is going to get past the Audi. Once again, let's have a look. Michel got past Ellis. Ellis has regained the position on Michel. Will he be able to do the same for Fudo? I think it's going to be pretty easy there for him to get past, given that Fudo has now picked up a 1.5 second penalty for himself. So rather unfortunate. We've not given a whole lot of airtime to Udalai, who has run away with the race lead here, and that is Fudo being aggressive, shutting the door on Ellis. Michel will get close, and I believe they're both boxing, especially Fudo is boxing. Michel stays out, Fudo and Ellis box. They have similar fuel levels. Gabo stays out, obviously is on the hards. Michel on the medium staying out as well. And Udalai may be considering boxing this lap. He should, ideally, I think. Given the fuel usage, you can see right there on his fuel meter, he has ample fuel to get by without too many issues. Michel can also consider boxing. I believe the hard runners in Blade Runner, Gabo and Rico can opt to go for a hards to softs, although Rico's Starway seems to be a lot more than you would like. Fudo has exited on the hards, so has Ellis, so that's pretty straightforward. Boyan still on the softs. He has to make his mandatory pit stop, mandatory compound change, I must say, during his pit stop. He's done 2 runs on the soft tires. He will have to choose either the mediums or the hard tires. I believe he can opt for the mediums, but he is currently opting to go into the wall there, Boyan. That is not the way you want your race to go. And what's happened here? Oh, that's Fudo serving his penalty there. Let's have a look up front. Udalai will probably be boxing this lap. That is Gaz ahead of him in P14. So somebody has disconnected. I believe I can't really say for certain who that is. Gas into the pit lane. I think Udalai will follow suit. No, he will carry on for one more lap, Udalai. So what does he think? Does he want to go for the softs? What's going through the mind of the super driver at this point in time? A pretty cool decal on the rear windshield there, Udalai, I must say. Michel carries on for one more lap at least, at the very least as well. Gabo carries on. IJF on the mediums, maybe considering boxing. Nope. Carries on. Apocalypse sliding through the last corner there. Stays. Nope, he is boxing from those hard tires. So he wants to get rid of the hardest compound available to the drivers on lap 14, half race distance mind you. Rico on lap 15. He is a long way behind his fellow hard tire runners. Gabo's in a bit of a lonely race at this point, not a whole lot to say for Gabo. Similarly for Udalai, just keeping it clean, keeping it consistent, I think that's really the key to any race. Udalai, a good position here. I see somebody exiting the pit lane. Is that going to be side-by-side action for Apocalypse and Charles? Apocalypse has a 3-second penalty, that is probably for cutting the pit entry. Charles is in P11, but look at his tires. Charles is not having a very good time here. Gumb is also in a pretty unpleasant situation. Udalai is lapped Gaz, who is now going to be lapped by... Actually, he's being lapped by, I think, P6 or P7 at this point. Blade Runner is going to stay out. Michel, will he box? What's his strategy, Michel? Let's have a look at that. Lap 15, he will stay out, Michel Beaumont. Gabo, will he kick up some grass? No, actually he's going to box here, Gabo. So opting for, I believe it's going to be the medium tires, no doubt about it. He will have to navigate 12 laps on the medium, so I think that's definitely doable. The Goodyear Eagle tires going on to the Renault of Gabo. Let's have a look at the nearest competition to him. Rico also boxing. Rico boxing from the hard tires. So Gabo and Rico opting to get rid of their hards a little bit earlier than I thought they would. But interesting strategy calls there. Boyan boxing from the softs. I believe it has to be for mediums. Charles carries on and he's saying that he pushed a whole lot trying to overtake people with the split strategy. I think that's fair enough. You have to try something different when you're in a situation like that. Ellis going a little bit wide there, I think. Gabo also trying to regain some momentum and time. Let's have a look up front. IGF will probably have to box on this lap. He has ample fuel, but his tires are the issue here at this point. Michel is running on fumes almost. His tire fuel indicators in the red, and that is Udalai into the pit lane, avoiding any potential pit lane cutting penalties there. Blade Runner will carry on. He does have ample fuel, but he doesn't have the... He does have ample tires, but he doesn't have ample fuel to go on with it. So let's see what he does. He may opt for a slightly different strategy. Michel carries on. IJF may box. IJF is boxing. IJF comes into the pit lane. Inorganic. He has made his pit stop. Although I think he's a little too far back to trouble Udala at this point in time. And given that he's made his pit stop a little bit earlier, he may be under threat towards the end of the race with his tires. IJF refueling. Ellis moves up to P5. Gabo chasing after the Supra. Kudu chasing after Gabo. IGF has taken on the fuel that he needs to. He's gone on the soft side here. Alright, interesting. Okay, overtaking is prohibited. Do we have a spinner? We do have a spinner. Is that Gaz? That is Gaz. Once again, the Audi finds himself in the wall. And that's going to open the door for Charles, because IGF I think took a little bit of evasive action there in trying to avoid the spun Audi. For the back, Rico and Gumb also battling away. Gumb was running in such a good position now, but unfortunately his spin has cost him dearly. Blade Runner pits from the lead. Michel will also pit. He's absolutely running on fumes, Michel, but he will pit for a set of softs, I believe. I don't think there's a whole lot of doubts about these guys' strategies. Udalai is in P3, so if these guys have opted for the soft tires, that may prove problematic for Udalai towards the end of the race. Let's have a look at Blade Runner's strategy decision. What has he opted to go for? And he has opted to go for the mediums. So, saying it's safe there, I see Blade Runner not wanting to take too many risks. The inorganic is up into P3. It's a very good position. I don't believe we've seen him in this position across this season. Michel has opted for the soft tires. Ellis is on slightly older hard tires. Inorganic on the mediums. Blade Runner on the mediums as well. And Udalai not too far ahead of Blade Runner. So we have 10 laps to go towards the end of this race. I believe Udalai may come under threat from the Renault driver. Let's have a look. Michel chasing after Gabo. Michel on the softs. Is it the right call? I'm debating that a little bit right now. I know the BRZ is very kind on its tires, but still, 10 laps on soft tires. I think it's a tall mountain to climb there at sustained pace for Michel. He will be quick at this stage in the race, obviously, but prove me wrong, Michel. I would love to see you prove me wrong. Chasing after Gabo as we start lap 19. Udalai has already started lap 19. Udalai, I think Blade Runner will be a threat to the Super driver come the end of the race. Considering how far back he started as well, Blade Runner, that's a pretty respectable way for his race to go. Ellis in P4. Michel is hassling Gabo a lot more than Gabo would like, I'm sure about that. Let's have a look into the hairpin we go. Ellis gets through without too many issues. Gabo has a slight hesitation with his turn in. Michel, we got a better exit, but the straight line speed will not help him out whatsoever. Fudo in P7. He's in a bit of a lonely race at this point himself. IGF in P8, Gumb in P9, Apocalypse in P10. Charles has run out of tires. Boyan on the mediums, he's made his mandatory stop, so he will have no more stops required to make. Is that Gaz? Was that yet another spin? No. Oh, it is Gaz. So Gaz has been lapped by everyone on the P12. Oh, that has to hurt. And Rico is not too far back himself, so if Rico laps Gaz, that is Gaz one lap behind the car, immediately supposed to be ahead of him. So this race has not gone very well for the Audi driver there. Gaz struggling significantly. Charles will have to box, I'm sure about that, from further back. What about Michel? Michel gets a pretty good exit here on the soft tires. Obviously he will have the momentum, but will he have the... he'll have the grip, but will he have the momentum? He picks up the fastest lap, Michel Beaumont. 16 thousandths up on his personal best. Let's have a look. Going into the hairpin. Oh, I see another yellow flag. I mean, I see a car stalled there. Is that Gumb? Is that Gaz once again? Gets a better exit, Michel, however. For the time being, we'll have a look at that. Michel gets a good exit, and yes, fair play for not quitting. It's always good to see out the race, no matter how it is going. Apocalypse and Gumb got in a little bit of a battle here. Charles has run out of tires. Oh, I think it was actually Charles who had the crash. I think he's the driver who I saw spun. Yep. So I think he had a puncture at this point, just as he was taking the left-hander. Oh, that is so unfortunate. He looked like he was going to put up a good fight against Boyan, despite his older tires, but nonetheless, Charles has lost momentum, he's lost time, and he is down in P12. I think, Charles, you are becoming Lewis Hamilton with that specific comment there, the way you're going about it. Oh, it's frustration, you can see that. Oh, and that's it. Who is that? That's Gaz struggling about Charles with a punctured tires. And yeah, struggling about, but still in the race. Charles Daughter in P13. I hope I've said that correctly. Charles, please correct me if I've said it wrong. Charles Daughter. I believe that is the... Let me know. Udalai coming under threat from Blade Runner. Lap 20 of 28. Blade Runner can see the Supra driver, and I'm glad that I was able to pronounce that correctly. I was wondering if my accent or my pronunciation could cause a bit of issue there. Jarl's Daughter. Alright, I will be saying that for the foreseeable future. Jarl's Daughter, I think, is the exact way to say it. So, Jarl's Daughter currently in P13. He's exited the pit lane, and unfortunately he has been lapped by P1 and by P2 as well. P3 is Inorganic, who's in a very good position. We haven't seen this kind of pace from Inorganic throughout the season, and fair play to him. I think he's picked up the pace for this race. I believe it's Inorganic and Nico who are teammates. Yeah, I think it is. So no worries. Jarl, I think I'll just say Jarl's Daughter. I find that to be ideal for myself. And here you go. This has been brewing for a few laps. We've let Blade Runner cook, and he has cooked up something pretty interesting. What do the Danish cook very well? Is it pretzels? I'm not sure what it is. They cook up very well, but we've let him cook, and he has served him on a plate. We have a very feisty battle here incoming between Blade Runner and Udalai. Into the last corner we go. Udalai defensive. For the first time he's had to defend in a long time. Inorganic a little further back. He has... Who is that? I think that's Jarl's Daughter, who is a little further ahead. Ellis also chasing after Inorganic, but I think we're going to focus on this. Lap 22 of 28. 7 laps to go, including this one. Blade Runner chasing after Udalai. Let's have a look. Udalai goes a bit too deep into that hairpin there. That's opened up the door very much so for Blade Runner, who's gonna say not Dankeschön, whatever the Danish people say for thank you. Dankeschön is German, sorry for that. Udalai, although it is still side by side, so I think the thanks were a little premature there. There's still side by side action. Blade Runner will be aggressive, I think, in his attacks. Udalai holding position for the time being, and he stays ahead. Wow, that is some great racing for the lead between these two. Ellis as well, I think he is going to put Inorganic under some pressure here. I'm actually rather tempted to just stick with this. However, I believe we should give a bit of airtime to those a little further back as well. So let's very quickly switch over to them, as they've gotten through without too many issues. Oh, it's really tempting to not... yeah, but that's Udalai going a little bit wide there. That is going to open up the door for Blade Runner. Once again, it's a drag race, Supra versus Renault. I think the Supra will have the advantage in terms of pure straight line speed. Inorganic is... Oh, he's boxing Inorganic. Why? Oh, he has no fuel. I didn't even see that. I'm sorry for that. Blade Runner and Udalai battling it out for the race lead. Yellow flag. Who is that? Is that Gaz? Once again, yellow flag may have deterred Blade Runner from making a move on Supra on the Supra of Udalai at this point, even on hards. Yeah, I agree. It's a pretty feisty battle between you two, so I'm really eager to see how it pans out towards the end of the race, because it really seems like anybody's game here. Renault has the better tires and Udalai has the track position. So let's see, Ellis in P3. So it's a Supra 1-3 at this point in time. That is a dream result for them, almost. If it's a 1-2, it is the perfect result for any team. As I see, Inorganic's fallen back quite significantly at this point. I'm sure you would have opted for the softs, but Michelle is hassling. So a Supra is being hassled by two different drivers here. Wow. Both the Supras are coming under threat from Renault and from a Subaru. Blade Runner got the better exit there. I shouldn't have moved away from that, but I think we're gonna carry on. Lap 24 of 28. Blade Runner still chasing after Udlai, although I think he should get in the slipstream at this point. He's given up a lot of straight line speed advantage by not being in the slipstream of the Supra at that part of the racetrack. Into the hairpin we go. Has Udlai gone wide once again? It doesn't seem like he has, and he gets a good exit as well. Let's have a look at this battle here. Oh, that is Jarl's daughter having a spin at the same corner where we've seen gas go off about 3 times. What's going on here though between Udlai and Blade Runner? This is the battle for the lead. And Udlai just seems to be slightly missing his braking points every single time. However, his being ahead of Blade Runner is really helping him out. Track position is vital here, it seems. No matter your tires or your fuel situation, whatever it may be. Blade Runner is hounding, he's troubling the Supra so much. What about the other Supra? I think he's got a little bit of breathing room there. Blade Runner is sparing no expense here. He is on it. He's absolutely on it. And I think he's going to get the better exit here. And he should look to be in the slipstream until the very last moment. Udlai will be defending, obviously. That's his, he has the right to do so. Lap 25 of 28. Udlai still ahead of the Renault. And as we go through this tricky section, we've seen a lot of mistakes being made by a lot of drivers. Udlai opting for an alternate line as compared to Blade Runner. That's lovely to see. Drivers opting for different lines in order to retain their advantage. Udlai still stays ahead for the time being. That's a car going very slow. Is that the genesis of Rico? So Rico has had a pretty unfortunate ending to the race, I believe, given the pace at which we just saw him drive. Ellis is a little further back. Yeah, this is the only battle on track, and it is the battle for the lead. Blade Runner is putting up a fantastic battle against Udlai. I think we will switch over to this camera angle. Udlai will be very keen. We're gonna give these two special camera angles here. Blade Runner, you can just see how close he is throughout the lap to the Supra. He just needs to force Udlai into making a mistake, or does he? That was very close. I thought he would be just putting his nose in there a little bit more and maybe forcing Udlai to give him a little bit more racing room. Gets a better exit, does Blade Runner. Udlai onto the grass there. Once again, this is going to be a side-by-side battle. This gets the cinematic camera treatment. As we start lap 26, 3 laps to go, including this one. Renault versus Supra going on for so many laps. And once again, the Supra seems to have the advantage of track position for the time being. Let's have a look into the hairpin we go. Who is it going to be? Alternate lines once again for Udlai and Blade Runner. And that is Blade Runner getting past Udlai. Udlai, I think, went a little bit too deep there into that corner. And oh, that's Ellis with a penalty. That is going to open up the door for Michelle. However, we're not going to focus on that for the time being. Look at this side-by-side action on this long straight. Udlai gets back past the Renault. However, Blade Runner is so confident on the brakes. That is a mark of a driver who knows what is the limits of his car. Well done to him. And he's back past the Supra driver. Will Udlai be able to do much? Will he be able to hang on to the back of the Renault there? I don't think he will. Yeah, he's struggling about there. And almost running off track there, Udlai. Ellis is coming under threat from Michelle. So Udlai loses the lead after 25 great laps. Lap 26. It is going to end with a Renault leading the way. Blade Runner will start lap 27 in the lead. What about Ellis and Michelle? Michelle looking to get past, but look on the bottom left. Look at the situation Michelle finds himself in. His tires have nothing to give him almost at this point in time. Ellis is not going to give up though. Ellis has overall better tires, I would say. He's squeezing Michelle there. This is some great racing. You love to see it. Michelle does have just 2 laps left, but I don't know if his tires are going to be able to sustain it towards the end of the race. Ellis goes a little bit wide there, but I don't think Michel can really afford to put his tires under a whole lot of pressure at this point. So Supra 2 and 3, Udalai has fallen back from Blade Runner, so I think that's what he's going to settle for. He's going to settle for P2 in this race. Better P2 than nothing else. Gabo, we've not spoken about him for a while. His teammate is leading the race. Ellis is losing the rear end on corner exits. Although Michel's tires will cause him to lose everything almost by the end of this race if his tires fall off the cliff. Oh, sorry for that. I will focus on this battle as the battle for P3. This will be pretty interesting, I think. As we're going to start the last lap, Ellis seems to be struggling. Michel has the pace, he is fast, but he has no tires. And Gabo is an outside chance. What's going to happen here? And yeah, the Renault seems to be really under control. And what's happening here? Rico is giving Udalai a bit of a boost here, almost. I don't think Udalai will be pretty happy with that. That'll be a little distracting for him there. Blade Runner is comfortably ahead. Udalai goes a little bit wide there. Ellis and Michel. Can Michel do anything, or has he already run out of tires? I think he's just gonna bring the car home without putting the tires under too much stress. Gabo a little further back, but still in the mix. He could still do something. Fudo is a long way back in P6, so the field is very spread out here at this point in time. But it is Blade Runner who has driven a phenomenal race. I believe he started, what was it, P9 or something. I think it was P9 where Blade Runner started. So he's risen up 8 positions. Well done to him. And I think we're gonna give him his moment of glory here. The last feature race of the season is going to be won by the Renault of Blade Runner. And what a drive it's been for him. Around Deep Forest Raceway, 28 laps. We saw Udalai lead for the longest time, but in the end it is the Renault of Blade Runner who is going to come across the line and win the final feature race of Tier 6 Season 16. Well done, Blade Runner, well done. What a drive by him. Ellis, no, that's Rico and Udalai gonna finish line astern. Ellis does hold on to P3 ahead of Michel. What about Michel and Gabo? Gabo did close up, but it was a little bit too late in the end for him. Oh, we heard lag there. Michel ran out of tires, but he was just about to hang on there. Fudo's a long way back, but he is going to finish P6. Bit of a lonely race for him there. Inorganic, I don't think his strategy was the best tonight. As you can see, he's already running out of fuel for the second time this race. So, Inorganic, he could have been P3, he could have been in the mix there, but nope, it wasn't meant to be, unfortunately. Apocalypse was in P8. Gumb in P9. That is Boyan, who is weaving to the line in P10. I think that's the end of the race. Is it? No. Gaz has soldiered on. He is 2 laps down. He may be having a lot of damage. He may have had a few spins, but important to note is that he is still carrying on. That is, you have to respect that. He wants to get to the end of the race. So well done to him. And right at the end there, Rico stole the first lap away from Michel. So well done to Rico for picking up the first lap towards the end there. And yes, indeed, well done to Gaz for not rage quitting. He will take the checkered flag, and no, that is not the button I wanted to press. I wanted to give him the cinematic treatment there. Well done, Gaz. Props to you for finishing the race. And yeah, but driver of the day I think has to be Blade Runner. What a drive that's been. And with that we conclude the final race sprint and feature for Tier 6 Season 16. And despite it being the season finale, we do have the feature at Monza to look out for, which I will be streaming in a few days time. And yes, the season will resume on the next season will start on Monday. I will do my best to get the Monza race done before the start of the next season. Until then, yes, I am I'm myself quite looking forward to seeing how TO5 gets on. I believe TO5 is the same group of drivers, so let's see how they get on. Thank you guys. Means a lot that you have liked the comms. I will be covering the Monza feature in a few days. I did the Monza comms, although the YouTube was kind enough to stop the stream right after the sprint race, so I commentated on the entire feature without knowing that the stream had stopped. So, yes, that's unfortunate situation I found myself in. So I will be redoing the feature, and once again, it's going to be awkward to commentate on myself making overtakes and getting involved in some moments. But until then, thank you very much for tuning in. I hope it was entertaining to see yourself or to see all the drivers on track. Until then, we will see you next time. Thank you. Take care. Good morning, afternoon, evening, good night, and goodbye.